Hi, I'm going to be making Käsespätzle, which is a dish that's eaten across lots of the south of Germany, parts of the Alsace in France, also Liechtenstein, Switzerland, Austria, pretty much anywhere in the south German-speaking regions of Europe. It's got these little noodles called Spätzle, which is, I found out today it means little sparrows. It comes from the word Spatz for sparrow. And they don't really look like sparrows, but they're sort of thick egg noodles. They're quite short and wriggly. So yeah, first up we're going to need 2 onions, which we've sliced, and we've got a tablespoon of oil. Should just heat that up on a medium heat. And you want to fry the onions off until they're nice and brown. You can add a little bit of sugar and salt if you want them to be more caramelised. So my onions are nice and brown. Be careful not to burn them. I may have slightly overdone some of mine. So I've set them to one side off the heat, and the next step is we're going to need to boil some water, which I've already done, and just keep that on a low heat simmering. I'm using a steamer for this next stage. There is such thing as a Spätzle press, but it's quite hard to get them in the UK. I'm sure you can find one online. But a colander or a steamer like this will do. I prefer the steamer because it can just slot in over the pan. So next step is to preheat your oven to gas mark 4, and we're going to make our Spätzle dough. So we're going to need 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil, which I've already got in here. I have 3 beaten eggs, 225 grams of plain flour, 125 millilitres of water, and a pinch of salt. And as a nice little treat, I like to add a little bit of thyme to make the Spätzle just taste a little bit more interesting. So this step is really easy. You could make this very technical if you wanted to, but you just need to add all the ingredients into a mixing bowl and whisk them. If you have an electric mixer, then that is best. And it's quite a gloopy mixture. So don't worry if it's quite runny, that's normal. So this is just to demonstrate the little bubbles that you can see. As I said, it's quite runny, almost like pancake batter consistency. Now comes the slightly messy but fun part. So I'm going to take a spoonful at a time of the mixture. I've got my boiling water and my steamer, and I'm going to let the mixture, which you'll see it drops quite naturally, I'm going to let that spoonful drop through the holes and create the little noodles. Now you will need to sort of push it through the holes, as I'm doing now, until all of that mixture's in there. You need to work fairly quickly because they don't need to cook for very long, only about 3 minutes, or until they've all risen to the top. So to get the whole lot of mixture done, you might want to do this in separate batches. The little swirly shapes that the noodles make. This isn't a traditional looking Spätzle because I don't have the right tools. These Spätzle presses you can buy are quite snazzy and they make slightly longer noodles than this. But this is absolutely fine. So I'm going to leave those for 2 to 3 minutes, or until, if yours are sinking to the bottom, you want to wait until they've all risen to the top. When your Spätzle are done, you just need to strain them with a colander. And now we're just going to keep them off the heat to one side. Next up we have 325 grams of Emmental cheese. If you can only find sliced Emmental like I can, that's absolutely fine. You can just chop it. You can use any kind of Swiss nutty cheese, or a German or an Austrian one if you'd like. Just something sort of alpine, and Gruyere would be good as well. Some freshly chopped parsley as well. I've used an oven-safe pan to fry my onions in, so this can go with my Spätzle straight into the oven. But if you have a pan that's not oven safe, then you'll need to transfer your onions at this stage to a casserole dish. So into my pan with my onions, I'm going to add first my Spätzle. You'll notice I'm making a slightly smaller portion. There's only 2 people in my bubble, so this would be a lot of cheese for 2 people. Then I'm going to add my cheese and my herbs. And it's kind of important at this stage, I've learned, to have your onions cool, otherwise everything will just start to melt and go gloopy in the pan, which makes it difficult to stir, because we need to stir this all in until it's nicely mixed. And it's going to go into the oven for 10 minutes or until it's nice and crispy on top. You don't want it too crispy, just a nice golden colour. As you can see, this is quite a rich, wintry meal. It's a bit strange making it when the sun is shining outside. So you just have to imagine, whisk yourself away to somewhere cold and snowy. Maybe you've been skiing, maybe you've been to a Christmas market and you need to warm up with something hearty and rich. It's not something you eat every day, and you might want to serve it with a light salad on the side, some vegetables, something green. They'll usually serve it with crispy deep fried onions on top. They're incredible. If you've not tried them, they taste amazing on lots of different things. Lots of different foods can be improved with a bit of crispy onion on top. You'll find it in Japanese cooking, I think, but unfortunately I've not been able to find any in the supermarkets. So caramelized onions work nicely as well, and if you can find the crispy onions, go for it. If you have a deep fat fryer, technically you can make them at home, but I probably wouldn't recommend it. It might be a bit fiddly and a bit dangerous. So I've just taken my Spätzle out of the oven. I had to leave it in for a little bit longer just to get it to the crispiness and colour that I wanted it. You might find that you need to do the same, it just depends on your oven, but if you listen carefully, that lovely sizzling sound. So I'm going to serve this with some more fresh parsley. So here it is, my favourite food in the whole world. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do.